So again, yeah, not looking for polished answers, just whatever you found has been, true for you. Can you just give us a just introduction to yourself? So introduction to you and the clinic and just a little bit of background.
I'm Hira Hamad, and I'm the office manager for a practice which has one provider, and it's a small practice in Coos Bay. And we have been, our private practice has been there for more than 5 years. We are a small practice in a small town. Yeah.
Amazing. So you've recently started to use our document triaging service to save time with some of the faxes. So before using this service, what would you say was the most frustrating or time-consuming part about managing your incoming faxes, results, and follow-up workflows?
So, as being an office manager, for me, the toughest part was when I train somebody and then they decide to leave after 2 months. So, that would mean that the day when they leave, I would be the one doing all the faxes because nobody else is there to do the faxes. And I would have to take care of like 100 faxes because nobody was looking at it. So, it would be my responsibility. And then when somebody new came in, it would be another hassle for me to train them because there is a different variety of access is not just a simple thing. That was the biggest hurdle for me of training everyone and then thinking that they will leave in 2 months and I have to train somebody else again. And then while they are gone, I am the one who's doing all the faxes remotely and adding more workload to my priorities.
Even just for you, when you're having to fill in the gaps between staff, or if staff are taking a day off, what did you find was the most like challenging part of going through all of these faxes?
It was for me the challenging part was the time it took. It was like it was a task that if I'm doing it, it's taking so much of my time, and the faxes comes all day, so I couldn't stop. Like especially if even the faxes would come at night also after the business hours, but in the morning I would have so many faxes, so I couldn't have a flow of couldn't be say okay by 5 p.m. I'm done. No, there will be more faxes the next day, and there might be 20 of them again, and I have to do that before my office hour begins. So then the flow of seeing the patient would go well.
That makes sense. And now that you are using the document triaging service to handle the faxes, what do you think has meaningfully felt different in your day to day?
For me, I have the confidence and the peace of mind that if my current employee decides to leave, my system won't crash on me, my clinic won't crash on me. Things can still flow smoothly. That is um, my biggest reward for using the system is that at the end of the day, I have my peace of mind. If somebody decides to leave, that's okay, no problem. My clinic will still not fall into pieces. Things will still go on. So that is my biggest thing. And then my second thing is now that the faxes are being sorted, my employee, she has more time to do other things instead of just doing like an easy task of like doing, oh, this is this patient, this is that patient, and I can put her through more complex problem instead of doing simple things.
That makes sense. Since the faxes are getting sorted, what's the impact on the time there, on how much you're spending?
I'm spending zero time as an office manager, and my employee, she still spends some time on it. She's supervising the faxes, but that is almost cut into half of it because she's only supervising it and not doing all of it, which frees her time to do some other priority stuff.
Awesome. And that higher priority, higher value work, could you give us some examples of what that is?
So a higher priority work would be getting prior authorization or everything that needs prior authorization before our patient can have access to it, like prescriptions or even their outpatient infusion orders. Those require authorization, and then authorization for seeing the patients by VA. We need to have authorization before we see any of those patients. So all of those, and then she's able to check our emails, and then she's able to help our front desk and our MA also. So she's taking on other roles also instead of just being busy with sorting the faxes all day.
Amazing. And getting towards the more patient impact related topic, do you feel that this has had any downstream effect on your patients or on how quickly patients are moving through the system, especially since we talked about how the prior authorizations you're able to spend more time on those. So how would you say that's impacted the patients?
It has been really greatly in terms of patients, especially for the new referrals that we get. So now when we get the new referrals, our employee know that she needs to call them instead of sorting them out. She just has to say, oh, this is a new referral, and she calls them. That means we are able to reach our new consults sooner than later. That has been the greatest thing. And then when we have a patient who is in the clinic and we are waiting for the labs, we know that the faxes will be sorted out really fast. Then we can know that the labs that the patient has done, it will be in their folder instead of waiting for the patient. And then we're going through each fax one time to see if it is what we're looking for. So that has definitely added more value, more care from the patient point of view, because things are there for them, and it helps us a lot.
So would you say that it's been helping patients get scheduled faster then?
Yes, absolutely. It has been such a great difference because we are able to call our patients sooner than later, definitely.
Awesome. Now, I know we've been talking about this from like an operations perspective, you as the office manager. In a busy practice like yours, one physician, what has been the biggest impact for Dr. Kadir with having the faxes automated?
For him, it has for him also the peace of mind that the faxes are being sorted out. For him is the peace of mind that the labs are being assigned to the patient, and also where we get like the highlights of all the other, like the sodium or potassium, all those values that we keep an eye on. So for him, it has been the peace of mind that the labs are not just being assigned, there's some critical thinking done to it, and if we need to follow up ASAP, we can, instead of just like assigning faxes and not doing anything. So I like how the faxes are able to be sorted out to a level where it does the next step of seeing what the level is and letting our staff know that this is what the level, and then our staff can decide if they need to call the patient as soon as possible or is something that need to be addressed sooner or later. So I think from his point of view, also it's better that once a patient does their lab, we can get the results and then we can determine how critical those labs are.
Okay, cool. And then to a physician who assumes that this is just an admin tool, what would you say?
I would say that, besides being an admin tool, it is a tool that is there for us forever. This tool will not leave us because right now the job market is like people come and they go a lot, and that has been our biggest obstacle in our practice in the last year, where people come and go all the time. And having this in our practice gives us the peace of mind that no matter what's going to happen at the end of the day, there is somebody who's going to sort our faxes all the time, day or night. They're not going to leave us. So that means if somebody decides to leave us, we're not going to be in panic mode because we know the big picture is taken care of. So that is definitely what we are really grateful to have with this tool.
Amazing. Now, getting into the more like trust and kind of confidence building around I think this was the first AI tool that you used at the clinic. Is that true? Okay. So can you tell us a little bit more about what gave you the confidence that this would actually work? So, we came and we talked about this with you, but what really gave you the confidence that this is going to impact my workflow?
At first, our provider, he was not happy about it at all. He did not have any trust at all. And he said, no, I don't think so. But with the past of training everyone and everyone leaving, I was exhausted of the training system. And I said, let's give them a try. What could go wrong? Because we have somebody who was supervising the faxes. So what's going to happen? And so it was that first step, which was hard to take. But when the provider saw the results and see how streamlined things are and how trustworthy the process is, he really started liking it, and he's not hesitant towards it at all. And he also has a peace of mind that things are going well.
This will be the last thing. So, if you were explaining the value of the system to another clinic manager or physician in one or two sentences, what would you say?
I would say that everybody is moving towards AI, and for a practice to not take advantage of a resource like this is really not a great idea. Is you're falling behind. I would highly recommend all the practices to try this and see how it goes. Because right now, this is the world of AI, and we all need to keep up with it and take advantage of it. So if somebody is helping my practice, which is I would love to do it because I know at the end of the day, they won't tell me, oh, I'm leaving for whatever reason. And I don't have to find somebody that takes time and energy. I don't have to train them. So the whole process is gone, and I love it.
Perfect.